Today, we become legends.
Hey, my name's Inter, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing a game mode tier list for Smite, aka How to Farm Hate Comment Simulator. I'm sure everyone is going to be leaving comments in the comment section. I'm looking forward to reading them because obviously everyone's going to have a different opinion on this kind of stuff, you know. We might share the most favourite game mode, we might share the least favourite game mode, but you're not going to agree with all of my placements here, I guarantee that. You may notice that we have more than 5 game modes down here. Of course, there's only 5 mainstay game modes in Smite, but we've also got Ranked Duel, and we've also got like adventure modes. We've got previous modes like Siege, Domination, and Clash. We've got everything here. I'm going to be ranking every game mode that has ever existed in Smite, I think, unless I missed any. We're going to be ranking these on S to F as always, so let's just jump right in with adventure modes up first. So this is a very hard one to place, obviously, because it's not one single game mode. It's, I don't know how many at this point, probably close to a dozen different, like, adventure modes. Some of them were absolutely brilliant, like Corrupted Arena, Trials of King Hercules, Shadows of Acropolis, you know, the RPG ones. Some of them were absolutely excellent, some of them were terrible, I never want to play them again, aka Smite Cat. And so, I think we'll put adventure modes just in the C tier, pretty much in the middle of the tier list. There were some great ones, there were some not so great ones. They're very different, which is a big upside to these game modes, you know. It's almost like you're not playing Smite, really. You're playing, like, you know, a different game mode. You know, you're playing Mario Kart, you're playing an RPG game, or whatever. And so it's very different to regular Smite. And yeah, I did really like that about the adventure modes. And so I think they were pretty good overall, but there were absolutely some misses in there, along with some really fun ones. So I think C tier is a perfectly fine place for it on the list. Next up, we have Arena. So how many people are going to piss off with this? Arena's an E tier game mode. It could even be F tier. But I don't think it's quite that bad, because I can sometimes enjoy a bit of Arena, you know, it's just a bit of a laugh. No one really takes the game mode that seriously, and if you do, I don't know what you're doing in your life. Arena's just there, you know, if you want to hop in, farm some kills, do random stuff that you won't get away with in other game modes, because you just get all the free farm in the world, and let's be honest, the player base of Arena are probably the worst at the game in terms of like all game modes, I would say. That's going to offend some people, but it's probably true. And so you can get away with a lot of random stuff in Arena. You can just have a bit of a laugh. It's fun with friends and stuff. So it's not quite an F tier game mode, but there's just no substance to it. It's just mindless, kill some people. That can be okay sometimes, but for me, I personally prefer a bit more depth in the mode, a bit more of like a skill ceiling. A bit more to do, and so for me, Arena, it just doesn't really hit the spot. I can only very occasionally tolerate this mode. I can't play more than like 1 or 2 games of this mode in a day without wanting to just like die. And so yeah, Arena's going to be in the E tier. Next up though, we have a bit of a change of pace from Arena. We have Assault, which I think is an A tier game mode. It's not the best of the best, but Assault is just quintessentially fun. It's in basically every other MOBA that exists as well. You know, like League of Legends has ARAM. It's just fundamentally fun. You know, single lane, random god, puts you out of your comfort zone a lot in terms of learning new picks. For me, at this point, like, I would be comfortable getting literally any god in Assault because I play this game way too much, it's my job. And so the randomness loses a little bit of its luster for me, I guess. Although you could argue the other way in that, like, I'm happy getting a random god because I can play every single god, like, relatively competently. Whereas people that have just got into the game, you know, you might not like Assault quite as much because you might get a god that you literally have no idea how to play and you'll feed on. But for me, I like it. It gives a little bit of variety. The single lane, no backing also makes for some interesting fights that you don't really, you know, like scenarios that you won't really get in other game modes. The map looks incredible. I'm not going to talk too much about the looks of the maps because it changes a lot, but we've had this Assault map for a while, and in my opinion, it's one of the best looking maps in the entire game. I absolutely love the aesthetic of the Assault map, all the ice and stuff like that, Jormungandr popping up throughout the game. Really sick overall. Norse is awesome, and so, Norsome. And, yeah, Assault is just really good. I like Assault, but it's not quite like at the pinnacle of game modes by any means. Clash next up. Clash, I think I will put in D tier. It's okay. There's a little bit more to it than Arena, for example, but it's kind of just like Arena with a few extra added things. In my opinion, Clash was actually better when they had Fire Giant and Gold Fury instead of just Apophis, because it made for like a little bit more of an interesting gameplay and stuff and tied it a little bit into Conquest. For those that don't know, like, way back in the day, Clash was introduced to be, like, a bridge mode into Conquest, where, like, if you're an Arena main, Clash has a bit of that, like, central Arena style. You get a lot of free farm, it's just constant fighting, but there was also, like, Fire Giant and Gold Fury, and farming mattered a little bit. And so they originally intended it as a bridge mode into Conquest from Arena. It never really panned out that way, it just became its own thing, and it's not terrible as its own thing, or was not terrible as its own thing. Obviously, we now have Slash, which merged Clash and Siege, which we'll talk about later. For me, Clash was just fine. I do enjoy Clash from time to time, but really, there's not enough to it for me to, like, really play this game mode consistently. I would just occasionally hop into a Slash back in the day. Next up, though, the boy, Conquest, probably the only game mode that's going to be an S tier. It's the best game mode in Smite, hands down. There's absolutely no competition. I'm sure some of you will disagree with this, although if you watch my channel, there's a good chance you're more into Conquest than the average player, because my channel focuses almost entirely on Conquest. It's the most in-depth mode, it's the mode the game is balanced around, therefore it is usually a more balanced experience than other modes. Not always. Conquest has its issues, and sometimes it is very unbalanced, but the fact that the game is focused around it and balanced around it means that usually there's less outliers in Conquest than there are in other game modes. The most in-depth, the most skill-expressive, the most like stuff to do on the map. The 5 roles give a ton of variety in terms of playstyle and gameplay. You can try different picks in different roles. It's got the most team play. It feels the most satisfying to get a win in this game mode. There's pretty much no negatives to Conquest as a game mode. Obviously, it has its issues from time to time that are like not necessarily tied to the game mode, it's just like, you know, balance issues or like the map being bad at a certain time or whatever. But that's another thing about Conquest, it gets the most consistent updates because the game is focused around it, and therefore you get constant map changes, constant new stuff to do, which I love personally. I know I see a lot of people in my comments like when I make update videos and they're like, they really hate that Conquest gets consistent updates. I don't. I like having new stuff to do, new stuff to try out, keeps things fresh, and so that's another bonus to Conquest. But yeah, nothing really bad to say about this game mode as a whole. It can have balance issues sometimes, but every game mode does, and Conquest, the best of the best, the pinnacle, the chef's kiss of game modes. Moving on though, we have Domination, which I think I'm also going to drop in the E tier next to Arena. Domination, a game mode from way back in the day that if you're a newer Smite player you may not have heard of, but they did bring it back for adventures occasionally. I think I brought it back for adventures like maybe 2 or 3 times. Basically, it's a capture point game mode. It's like Domination from Call of Duty or any other kind of game mode that has this style of thing. It's just like capture points. There's 3 capture points on the map. It's a 3-lane map. You basically just want to capture these and you slowly get points the more than you have captured. If you hold 2 out of the 3 points for most of the game, you're probably going to win. That's pretty much the idea of Domination. It's an interesting take, very different from a regular Smite mode where, you know, the objective is to kill some kind of Titan, or even in Arena, the objective is to just kill the enemies a lot and you'll win, whereas in Domination, it's all about holding those capture points. And so you have like different viable picks and stuff, gods with zone control, mages, tanks, very, very, very strong in this game mode. But overall, other than it being different, that's the only reason it's not in F tier, because the game mode plays horribly. The game was not balanced around this kind of gameplay. It's very polarizing, very snowbally, stuff like that. So overall, it's not that fun of a game mode, but the only reason it's not in F tier is that it's a little different and provides a little bit of a unique experience. It's been a while, I think, since they brought this back for any kind of adventure mode, so unless you played it way back in the day or you caught one of those adventures, you might not have played it, but trust me, you're not missing out on that much. Domination, as much as people like to hail it as God's gift to the world, it really wasn't that good. Joust. Joust goes to F tier. How many people did I just piss off right now? How many people are you doing this in the comment section? Joust is so trash, dude. Joust is my least favorite game mode by far. They constantly change the map, which I know I just said that's good for Conquest, but it feels like with Joust, they change the map and it ruins the entire game mode every single time they do it. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like it's always terrible after they change the map and everyone has to adapt it. Maybe it's because they don't make like actual meta changes to like, you know, non-Conquest balance or like stuff like that, because they kind of can't change items and gods as much as they would like to. For example, like they can with Conquest, and it just feels like the game mode breaks every time they update the map and everyone hates it. It's super snowbally, super try-hard for no reason. Like most of these other casual modes like Arena and Clash, you can just kind of hop in. If you're not that good at the game or if you're not trying that hard, you'll still do fine. Joust is ridiculously try-hard for what it is. I can understand people try-harding it in ranked, but if I just want to queue up a casual Joust, if I'm solo queuing, I'm running into a 3-stack that's GM try-harding their brains out, farming me. That is just not a fun experience in my opinion, and Joust is way too try-hard as a casual mode. And yeah, as I mentioned, 3 stacks. If you're not queuing this game mode in a 3-stack, you're not going to have a fun time. Because, you know, the enemy 3-stacking, the communication they can get from that, and the team play just completely wipes you out. And also, if you have one bad teammate in Joust, it is like twice as bad as having one bad teammate in any of the other game modes, because it's not 1/5 of your team that's feeding their brains out, it's 1/3 of your team that's feeding their brains out. And so Joust becomes very polarizing for that reason and very frustrating if you get one bad teammate, or I suppose if you're the one playing badly as well. It just feels terrible and literally unwinnable if you have one teammate that's not up to par. And therefore, like, the matchmaking issues that Smite already has are just exacerbated. Joust is going to be the only game mode down in F tier, I think. Worse than Arena, worse than Domination. I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off with that, but I really hate Joust. It's just so unfun. I never want to play this game mode, really. Jungle practice, I just threw this one in for lols. We'll drop it in C tier alongside adventures. I spend way too much time, more time than you would think in this game mode, testing things out, recording gameplay clips for the background of my videos. It could be improved, which is why it's in C tier. I don't know why I'm taking this seriously, by the way, but it could be improved with, you know, more tools to be able to, like, spawn different kind of bots, spectator features, other ways to, like, properly test, like DPS calculators where you can hit a bot and it'll show your DPS on screen, all that kind of stuff. Practice mode could be improved a lot, and I'm really hoping they do at some point for, like, content creation. It's a very niche application, but it's less niche than you'd think, because if they do make changes and improvements to practice mode, you're all going to reap the rewards from all the amazing content that people can produce from that. So it does have a larger impact on the player base, and I hope they do update it a little bit. But for what it is, it's a pretty good practice mode, to be fair. It's very good for getting clips. You can test out most of the stuff you would need, but not all the stuff you would need, as I said. So yeah, it's practice mode. I'm not going to last too long on this one. It's fine, but could be improved. Ranked Duel. I know I said Joust was going to be the only game mode in F tier, but is Ranked Duel in F tier? No, I'm going to commit. Duel's also an F tier game mode. I know I said Joust was going to be the only one down here, but Duel is also trash. It's just extremely polarizing. There's like a handful of viable gods, and if you're not playing those gods, you're not having fun in this game mode. Literally, at least 50% of the gods that are ever viable in Duel are hunters, and therefore not very fun for me. Hunters are my least favorite class, and so I'm never going to have any fun when it's just a hunter staring me down and I can't really play what I want to play, because this game mode only has like about 30% of the roster that's viable at any time, if not even that, to be honest. Due to the nature of it only being available as a ranked mode, it's incredibly try-hard. You will never find anyone trying to have fun in this game mode unless you randomly queue into like Hatmaster or something. You're never going to find anyone trying to play for fun. Everyone's trying to play for wins and TP. I think if Duel had a casual variant, it would move up significantly. I may genuinely put Duel like on level with Clash if it had a casual variant, because then you could just queue in. You know, if you had no one else online, you could just queue in, and you would sometimes meet fun people that are playing like Yumiya with Polynomicon or something, or they just want to have a bit of fun, and you can like, you could message them. By the way, Smite, add all chat. This is a completely separate point, but all chat will be so much fun. You could like message them in the middle of the game, and you might meet some fun people. You could add them and stuff like that. I feel like if Duel had a casual game mode variant, it didn't always have to be ranked, it would probably move up the tier list significantly. But as it is, Duel is so unfun, dude. It might even be more unfun than Joust, depending on how I feel on like the current day. But moving on, we have Siege. I think Siege goes to B tier. This is going to be a controversial decision. Obviously, the majority of the player base didn't like this game mode because it was the least played game mode in the game, and that's why it got removed and merged with Clash to form Slash, which we'll talk about in a second. But for me, I really liked Siege, dude. The 2v2 lane aspect, where you have like two separate 2v2 lanes that fight it out for like, you know, the first 10 or 15 minutes or whatever, and then like group ups start happening. I found that really interesting. It did come with some issues where like if the other duo lane on the other side of the map's feeding their brains out, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You can rotate, of course, but then you give up pressure in your own lane, and it was a little bit hard to... Similar to Joust, I suppose, in that like if you have one feeder on the team, it does kind of ruin a Siege game, and therefore matchmaking issues are exacerbated. Again, I'm not blaming the feeders, by the way, I'm blaming matchmaking. You know, if you get put in a game that you're massively outmatched in, that's not your fault, that's matchmaking's fault. And it was even worse in Siege because of the low player count. It was very hard to find a balanced game, and you run into a similar issue as Joust, where if you run into a 4-stack in Siege, it's very hard to actually compete into that. But just the core of what Siege was just so much more fun than Joust will ever be, and so it still lands quite highly on the tier list for me despite its issues. I really enjoyed Siege. Kind of sad that it got removed because there's really no elements of Siege other than Juggernauts present in Slash. It's just Clash 2.0, so let's talk about Slash. Slash, I think, lands in the C tier. It's better than Clash in my opinion. It's a slight improvement. It does add some other cool things. I think the map is generally a bit better. There's a little bit more space, and it has a little bit more to do with like stuff on the side. The Siege Juggernauts, obviously. More buffs than Clash had, I believe. I'm pretty sure there wasn't 3 buffs per team in Clash. There was 2, if I remember correctly, and then a central like red buff that you could contest. Yeah, not too much to talk about with Slash really. It is just Clash 2.0 that's slightly improved. Worse than Siege in my opinion. It didn't really take many of the elements from Siege. The main thing that made Siege so special was the 2 separate 2v2 lanes and the 4v4 format that I think was really interesting. Slash is just Clash 2.0. It's decent. I can hop into Slash and have a bit of fun with it. That's why it's in the C tier. It has problems, but it's also like relatively fun, so it's right in the middle of the tier list. But yeah, there you have it. There's the complete the S2F game mode tier list, in my opinion. We have Conquest at the top, we have Joust and Duel at the bottom, everything else in between. Obviously, let me know if you agree down in the comments, what you agree with, what you disagree with, because I'm sure you will agree and disagree on many different things. Maybe there's some Joust and Duel mains that hate Conquest. We'll probably flip this tier list on its head. Obviously, everyone's going to have a different opinion on this, so do let me know down in the comments. I'll be interested to read. Try and be civil. Don't say that I need to be banned from the game because I don't like Joust and Duel. And likewise, if I like Conquest, don't say I need to be banned from the game. Try and keep it civil in the comments, especially if you're applying to other people. Roast me all you want. There's no need to roast other people. Be nice. But other than that, I want to hear your thoughts on this, and I will catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.